Let me tell you a brief story. One of our schools in Southampton, and there's an old Methodist church that shut down, the building shut down, and the few people that were left there were disturbed about this, but the building couldn't be kept open, and we run a big secondary school round the corner, and we talked to the Methodists, and the Methodist hierarchy gave us use of the building for education through the week for kids that found it hard to be in a room of 30 kids, because of their behavioural difficulties, because of the way they've been abused or treated. They need just the safety and the security of a quieter place. And some of the elderly people that used to go to the Methodist church that's now shut started coming back to help us. And this happened about a year and a half ago. I was in the Methodist building where we got about 12 kids who are struggling, and so we're providing education for them there. And they arrive, and there's a pool table in the corner, and the kids arrive, and it's about socialization and building relationships. These young people have never been loved, never been cared for. No one's ever read to them. No one's ever smiled at them. No one ever touches them. We love, instead of slap them around. Anyway, this old man comes in. He's in his 80s. He's been a Methodist all his life. The church is shut. And he comes in, and one of our staff said to me, "Steve, watch this." And there's this little lad there who's a year 8, so he's 12 years old. Yeah? And my friend on our staff says to me, "This kid is so aggressive because of the way his brain is wired, the neuroscience of that, because of the abuse he's taking. He has to be aggressive. It's just an instinctive reaction. When someone shouts or beats him at anything, he lashes out." But she said, "Watch this." And I watched this old guy, this old man, pick up a pool stick, and he went with this lad, and he put his arm around him. They'd obviously knew each other. And he handed him the other pool stick, and they began to play. And this old guy plays with this young 12-year-old. They play pool, and the old man wins. And it's obvious he's going to pot the black. And my friend says to me, "You watch what happens." And the old man pots the black, and then smiles at the young man, and the young man high-fives him. And the teacher, our staff member, said to me, a few months ago, he would have taken his pool stick and smashed it over his opponent's head. But he doesn't anymore. His brain is being rewired. And then the old man walks with this young guy, and with his arm around him, and he goes to the kitchenette, and he made him a cup of coffee. And then after the cup of coffee, they went and sat at a computer, and the old man began to work through on the computer a literacy course with him. He began to read with him. And do you know why that moment is so powerful? I'll tell you why. Because that young man knows that no one is paying the old man. He's not a social worker. He's not a family support worker. He isn't a teacher. He's not being paid to be there. He's not a probation officer. He's not been appointed by the local authority. No one is giving him a penny. He is there out of sheer love. And that love conquers everything. And that young man's brain, you could almost see it, is being rewired. The circuitry is being rewired in those instants as he has to come to grips with the fact that there is another in the world who loves him and demands nothing from him. And I put it to you that is the genius of the church. And I put it to you that there is not an agency on this planet. There are many good ones, there are many great ones, but there's nothing like the church across the planet who has at its heart this understanding, its core mission to build the kingdom of God, to love God and love your neighbor as yourself. Who is my neighbor? It's the other, the person that's not like you. How different is that 12-year-old boy to the 80-year-old man? Different style, different clothing, different language. The old man is scared of him because he's a rebel. But the old man knows that he's got to cross the floor and embrace the other, because as he embraces the other, there's something in him that's changed, and he grows and he confronts his fears and he overcomes them. And at the age of 80, he's still a learner. That is the genius of the church.